Hey YouTube, welcome back to the Guitar Slinger Hockey channel. I'd like to start today's video off with a question. And that question is to all of the hockey skate manufacturers on planet Earth. So, dear hockey skate manufacturers, why is it that you must continue to mess with the tongues on hockey skates? Everybody has to come up with some new flashy recoil tongue or removable tongue or this, that, and the other thing, when the reality is that most people, when they're actually asked about it and have the choice and have been skating for a while, just want a stupid 7mm thick felt tongue. That's it. Just give me a felt tongue. One that's comfortable, doesn't annoy me or get in the way. It allows me to either do the flop with the tongue or wear it under the shin pads without bugging me. I don't know why they do this, but nevertheless, so what we're doing today is I'm going to show you how to fix the tongue, the removable tongue, on your CCM AS3 Pros so it does not bug you. So my experience with these skates are that they are probably, I think these are CCM's best skates they've ever come out with, in my opinion, since I've been, wearing them since the mid-90s or late 90s, something like that. But what I would say about this is that as nice as they are, there is now a common theme amongst these skates. I'm not going to take this off here, but you've already seen probably that CCM has a new detachable tongue system, and then it comes with this tongue when you buy it retail, and then there's 3 additional tongues that you can buy. One is thick, one is thin, one's kind of regular, and it's just basically to change the volume and comfort on the top of your foot. That's all it does. The thick tongue is pretty cool. It's 10mm thick and it has D3O foam in it, so if you stand in front of shots a lot, then that'll probably help. But anyway, so what I want to teach you guys about is how to fix an issue that has come up regularly now. So we got this new locking system, and I'm not going to take this out just because it's kind of annoying to do while it's laced up. You can watch another video for that. But essentially what you do is you can just unsnap these 2 snaps here and pull the tongue out. And then put it back in and snap it back in. It is actually convenient and easy. However, what most people who have tried this skate on have now noticed is that this skate now puts pressure on the top of your foot, kind of around the second eyelet here, here, that sort of thing. And it's as a result, and I'll see if I can point this out, there is a plastic piece, a real thin plastic piece that starts right here and it goes all the way across, and if I can get it in the focus, right over here on the other side, and it kind of wedges in so this part can sandwich in over the top of the tongue. And so that part really just cuts into the top of your foot, even though it is sandwiched, and it's actually the felt that is touching the top of your tongue, or excuse me, the felt tongue is really what's resting on the top of your foot, but it's actually thin enough on the tongue in here that that thin plastic part actually does dig into the top of your foot. And that's not just me, that is a number of people. There's another guy out there that does reviews. I think it's called hockeyreviews.ca, so I'll give him some props on this one. He called it out, but it's I think he referred to it as like 9 out of 10 people have been able to feel it, even if you don't have a particularly meaty foot in this area here. And so I would say that basically I'm going to show you what you need to do to fix this, because it can be fixed. And so what I'll talk about is that one of the things that you will do is you take the tongue out, and probably easier if you take the laces out, and then take a regular hair dryer, not a heat gun specifically, but a hair dryer, and you're going to heat the crap out of this plastic piece until it's like impossible to touch it because it's so hot. And then what you're going to do is you're going to use just your, maybe you can grab a rag so you don't burn yourself, but you're going to bend this little piece upwards. And you're going to bend it, and you're going to hold it, and you're going to bend it past the point of comfort. So in other words, you're going to bend it higher than you probably need the space for on the top of your foot. And the reason is because when it cools down, what's going to happen is it's going to recover and try to go back to its initial shape. But that initial shape that it cools down to, you want that to be higher than it was just right out of the box. And I actually noticed that does fix the problem in part. And so that was what I would do prior to baking the skate, by the way. And you basically heat that up, bend it to where you want it to be, and then I'm going to show you the next part of it, which involves what you're going to do to your foot in that area. And it's a little trick I learned from having true hockey skates in the past that actually does work for this part of your skate, which I think is good. You can also, while the tongue is out, you can actually heat this part of the tongue and manually bend it back and hold it there until it cools off, and it'll actually stay somewhat bent a little bit in order for it to alleviate some pressure from the top of your foot right here. Now, I think that the funny thing is, this is the this is the third iteration of the SuperTac one-piece boot. First one came out in like 2016. So the SuperTac and then the AS1 SuperTac from the last generation. This part was actually hinged here, so there was sewed onto the toe cap. Then there was about a half an inch, 3/4 of an inch of material, and then after that the tongue was actually sewed on. So it was a hinged approach, and it worked really, really well, and it was really comfortable. And then they decided they want to put these new tongues in, but they didn't really. I don't believe that I don't believe that CCM has spent enough time focusing on this area where it attaches to it. And so after you heat up the part that's attached to the toe cap and then the actual tongue part right here, and you get it bent to the point where it maybe doesn't feel perfect, but it feels a little bit better, that's the point where you actually go in and you can bake the skates. But what you're going to do when you bake the skates, and before you go in to do that, you're going to do this next approach. And essentially what you're going to do is you're going to take paper towels and you're going to kind of roll them up to the point where they're about 4 millimeters thick or so. And then you're going to use blue painter's tape to tape them on, as I'll demonstrate. And then you will throw your hockey sock on after you get those pads taped to the top of your foot. You will have your nearest hockey shop bake these for you, and then you'll put your feet in them and you'll heat mold the skates around the while you're wearing those paper towel pads in this general area on top of your foot. And then after you're done letting the skates cool down, you'll take the tape off, the pads off, and then slip your foot back in there, and it should feel really good. And I actually got a chance to try these skates out for the first time on ice yesterday. It's currently July 19th, and I got the chance to try them on, and that was like 100% fix. And so I have a feeling that this is going to come up with some other people, but I don't necessarily believe that would have broken in very quickly if we had done that, if I just kind of waited for him to do it on its own. I was kind of thinking about getting the thinner tongue or whatever, but yeah, I just decided to use that trick and see if it worked, and it did, because it really is thin enough here that's flexible. And let's see if I can even get that closer. Yeah, that part right there. In fact, I actually considered snipping it off with scissors or something like that, because I'm like, it doesn't seem needed. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to try doing that before I, snip plastic off the toe cap of a $1,000 pair of skates. So, anyways, so to summarize, what we'll do is you will take the tongues off. You will heat this plastic part with a regular hair dryer. You'll bend it up and you'll let it cool down. You'll go tape your foot and with the paper towel, and obviously put the tongue back in. Go heat mold the skates with the padding, the paper towel in there, and then that should do it for you. So with that said, right now I'm going to roll in some pictures of how to do the taping of your foot with the paper towels. Okay, so as you can see, I have basically taken a paper towel and I have rolled it up to, I'd say, about an inch and a half, inch and 3/4 in width, and kind of laid it across the top of the problem area of my bare foot. And again, the thickness of this paper towel is, I want to say, about 4 millimeters in my case, but it really could be anywhere between 3 to 5 millimeters. After we lay it on the part of your foot that you want it to, then you're just going to take blue painter's tape and you're going to tape it to your foot so it stays in place. Now, what's important after you do this is making sure that there isn't tape bunching up on the outside of your foot or the inside of your foot. And it shouldn't be even too big of a problem if you tape it around the ball of your foot, but I didn't do that in this case, because really what's going to happen is after you tape it on the top like this, you will put a hockey compression sock on, and that will hold everything together. Now, you may find that you only have an issue with one of the skates, and that's fine, but I do recommend that you use the same process on both feet, as it will add a little bit of consistency to both skates. That's just how I like to roll with it, just my recommendation. Your mileage may vary. During the baking process, the padding on your foot will affect this area and kind of keep it from stretching. Well, it'll force the boot out to stretch in that particular area, and then if you let it sit and cool down, by the time you take the skates off after they're being done being baked, then they should hold that shape just about where you need it, and it should be good to go. Okay, so hopefully that was a helpful video for you guys. I think that we have a pretty good pair of skates on our hands for those of you guys who wanted to wear the CCM Super Tax. That was really the only major issue, or I don't know how major it was, but it was the only issue that I could find with regard to comfort on those skates. And so doing that little tweak to it really made them quite comfortable. As someone who has owned the ultrasonic skate also before this, these are quite a bit more comfortable to my foot than the ultrasonics are, and you know, these turned out to be really nice to wear, especially just using them for the first time yesterday. So anyways, hope this helped. Let me know if you got any questions or comments, and I'll get back to you. Peace.